Well. We are back. The Hustle and Hoops podcast. The original duo is together. Me and Dov. It is Thursday, June 30th, 3:39 p.m. Woj and Shams bombs have been dropping like it's World War II. And we just had to meet up and talk about this. We couldn't get the full four stack. But Dov, how are you doing on this before the start of free agency even begins? How are you doing?
I'm just trying to keep up with these notifications. I was trying to eat my lunch earlier, and I just get this flood of text messages. I get this flood of text messages like KD. Oh my God, I thought this offseason was supposed to be. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah. So obviously, people who are watching / listening to this are NBA fans, and they are very well aware that KD has requested a trade out of Brooklyn. Less than a week after Kyrie said he was committed to Brooklyn, and it was rumored that KD was probably there for the long term as well. Turns out he's not. Turns out that his plan was always to request a trade, and he has done so. So, according to Woj and Shams and Chris Haynes, the two desired landing spots for Kevin Durant are the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. However, I don't believe KD has a no trade clause. So at the end of the day, it really isn't up to him. But for the sake of discussing it, do you think he ends up with Phoenix or Miami? Do you think the Nets grant his wish and send him to one of those places? And if they do, what would a trade package look like from either of those teams?
I mean, if you're looking at Phoenix, I guess that as of right now, with what we know, looks like the best option for Brooklyn. KD wise, I don't know how much. I don't know how I feel about him going to Phoenix and them just having no center and just running it, but they can do that. Miami, on the other hand, I feel like is one of those situations similar to most of the other teams in the league when it comes to trying to get a superstar in a trade package, where it's like, yeah, we could throw you a bunch of assets, but none of it's like anywhere near the level of, obviously no one's going to be on the level of KD that you're getting back in a trade in this situation, but like Miami's going to give you maybe Tyler Hero and some firsts and some Duncan Robinson action for some contract. That's not, I don't know.
It doesn't cut it to you.
It doesn't cut it for me, but at the same time, if you're in the Nets situation, how much leverage do you really have? Right now, not a lot.
Well, I've seen some people saying this is where DeAndre Ayton will get his money. Sign and trade KD for Ayton. I was looking at the cap space. Like the Nets are over the caps, or not the Nets. The Suns are over the cap already. Like obviously they can go into the luxury tax. Like they can go over the soft cap. But like, I don't know exactly how it works. Like if they retain like bird rights from the original KD contract or something. Like I don't know if they're allowed to go over for him because it's a trade. But I just don't know how he ends up with them. But I do think if Ayton is the centerpiece, that's a better trade package than whatever they can get from Miami. Because I also saw on Twitter that Miami's not allowed to trade Bam Adebayo or Brooklyn's not allowed to acquire Bam Adebayo because of some rookie contract extension rule. It's some weird rule.
When did he get his rookie extension?
Like you can't trade for two people on rookie extensions, and they already traded for Ben Simmons.
That's a disgusting rule, but okay.
It's a weird ass rule. I saw it on Twitter from a guy who seemed to know what he was talking about. So like, it's like you said, Tyler Hero, but the Heat are known for trading their first round picks. They really don't give a shit about them. I think they'd be trading as many future firsts as they're allowed to for KD.
Well, you got the Stepien
rule. Yeah, it's but you can trade swaps and you can trade every other year.
Which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure the majority of Miami's picks after this year, well, including this year, I mean, are swaps.
What I was gonna say is, I don't know if you know like, are you just allowed to trade like a 2050 first round pick?
I don't think you can go that far. I know
Like,
there's a limit. I don't know what the limit is, but I know that
like,
there's like
like for a guy
I'm
like
gonna
Kevin
use
Durant.
2K as
Yeah, well, obviously 2K is 2K. 2K is a video game. They have
I'm gonna use it as
limits.
an example. It's not exact, but basically after the draft going into the next season, it's kind of like a like a rotating, the hot dogs where one goes and then one gets added in the back. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, but how many years?
It I can Google it, but
Yeah, but like for a guy like KD, it might end up being enough if you get all of Miami's first round picks for as long as they're allowed to trade them. What's so funny?
okay. No, it's just a funny statement. Um
I
I'm I'm I want to jump so much further now that we're talking about draft picks and topics, but um
we're talking about KD.
yeah, I know. We're talking about KD. So it's just like when you look at these teams, if we're saying a team is just going to throw their asset pool like of draft picks at him, and that's the way that a team will get KD from Brooklyn, it's OKC. It's OKC is going to do it. They will win no matter what. Like if that's the battle that's happening,
Well,
OKC's winning it
but
if they're fighting.
if it depends on what Brooklyn is looking for and how much they want to respect KD's wishes by sending him to a team that might be able to compete. Obviously, any team with KD on it will be
7 years
able
in
to
advance.
compete a little bit. Okay. Obviously, any team with KD on it will be able to compete at least a little bit. But like obviously OKC has what, like 16 first round picks in the next 7 years, like something ridiculous like that. Um, so like if Brooklyn only wanted first round draft picks, you're right. OKC would be the guy or would be the team, but does how much does Brooklyn want to say to KD, like, we don't, if you want out, like, you're not gonna have a say in where you go. But then again, would OKC, I'm sure any team wants KD, but would OKC, who's does not have a team to surround KD really besides Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Chet, like, would you want KD right now? Like, you get him, you do have him locked up for 4 years. That's the biggest reason why a lot of teams would want him.
Right.
But does OKC feel like even with KD, is their window to win a championship even opened with the rest of the players on their team?
So I guess my answer to that would be, do you think that they actually care? Like, do you think Sam Presti is saying to himself, with the way that he's shown us that he's building teams, that he thinks he can't just grab a bunch of talent and throw it on the team and then boom, win? Like, trade all of his picks and all of his stuff, Giddy and Dort and all these young guys, and keep your little core of Shea, Chet, and KD. You think Sam Presti really isn't saying to himself, yeah, I can't build a championship team with that.
Well, what do you mean by build?
In the
Like
next 4 years,
if you're
being
saying
able
that they have to
to.
trade Giddy
I'm not
and
saying they have to. I'm just saying,
Giddy
like,
and all their picks, like,
hypothetically, if they're going all in and trading for KD, which I realistically think every team in the NBA is going to throw an offer at him. Like, I don't know what, or at the Nets. I don't know what the range or the scale of those spectrum of those offers is going to be. But I think everyone's going to throw one. I don't know why you wouldn't. If you're a GM and you hear KD wants out, you're throwing your best available package, or at
yeah,
least in your eyes, your best available package.
yeah. And that kind of stems us to the next topic of conversation regarding this is I proposed an interesting question to our group chat. I said, would you trade Cade for Kevin Durant, depending on what the rest of the package was, obviously? Like, and you were disrespected by that as a Pistons fan. You were disrespected by that text as a Pistons fan. And I'd like to defend myself a little bit. I'd like to explain it a little bit. I kind of alluded to the explanation over text. And KD is signed for 4 more years, like 4 total years. And we know exactly what KD is. We know exactly the type of player he is. Like he before he got injured this year, he was playing at MVP level. Like that's undeniable. I believe he was top 3 in MVP favorites before he got hurt this year. And he's one of the best players ever to play the game. That's not to say that so this trade of trading Cade for KD is no disrespect to Cade Cunningham. It is not. It is just all about Kevin Durant and his skill. And when you have a guy like Cade Cunningham, who has potential, but technically hasn't proven himself in the NBA, if you can get away with trading just Cade Cunningham, like doing essentially a 1-for-1 player swap of Cade Cunningham for Kevin Durant right now, I would be doing that personally.
Okay, well, first of all, it wouldn't be a swap.
What do you mean? Well, I think picks would be involved, and I think you'd have to even out contracts. But the centerpiece would be Cade Cunningham. I think that if obviously if they didn't do it, I'd completely understand. Bet it, like if you want to bet on Cade Cunningham. But Cade Cunningham has not proven himself in the NBA yet. He's obviously very young. He obviously can be good, but we know exactly what KD is. We know he's fucking amazing. And like you can't tell me like you'd rather have Cade Cunningham right now. Like forget 4 years in the future, forget who you'd rather have on your team 5 years from now. Right now, I'd rather have KD. And that's why I'd consider doing that trade.
So that's a fair point. And I think
you can't argue
just off the arguments you said, I don't completely disagree with you, but just to flip it, it's like, okay, if you trade KD for Cade Cunningham, who's around KD then?
The same guys who are around Cade.
So you want KD to be thrown on a team next year of Sadiq, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Marvin Bagley, Kelly Olynyk, etc. You want, that's what you think we should do.
I never said we should do it. I'd said I'd think about it. I would be thinking about it. And
here's why I wouldn't even consider it. Okay. Because the only reason I want KD on my team is if he's here to help Cade and whatever surrounding guys we have with Cade to win a championship. So if that does mean I have to trade Sadiq, Killian, and Isaiah Stewart for KD, I'll do that.
The Nets would say no to that.
Well, I mean, picks as well, and
but I don't think the Nets would even consider that. I think Jaden Ivey would
fine.
have to be in that trade package. 100%.
Throw Jaden Ivey in there.
I think it would have to be Jaden Ivey, Sadiq. It would have to be all 3 of the first round picks from the 2020 class, and Jaden Ivey, and picks.
I think you would leave Killian out of that. I think the Nets would be like, if you give us,
if they didn't want Killian, if they didn't want Killian, like sure,
they'd be like, you've already given us 2 project players.
It would have to be Ivey. And it would have to be more picks.
Yeah, no, that's whatever. The package isn't what I was focusing on in that instance. It was more the sense. It was more the sense of I would offer a Godfather deal for KD. I just wouldn't offer Cade in that deal. I don't think you can. I don't think you can justify doing any deal that isn't to put a superstar next to Cade. I think it doesn't make sense with the way that we've seen teams being built to just trade your what is that? Your queen, your king, your king piece in the chessboard. I don't know what the most important piece in the chessboard is, but that one, you don't trade that piece right now just to, for the hope that you can maybe, go and surround KD with other guys of Cade's level. Like you just can't.
I want Cade to be successful with the trade, but there's no guarantee that he will be. Look at a guy like Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was never bad necessarily, but he was never superstar until, honestly, he was playing at a superstar level in the playoffs, but he was a number 1 overall pick. He had high expectations. He was really good. but it doesn't change the fact that he never got to the level that a first round pick like Kevin Durant did. So like, I understand your point of view as well. And you're saying you would offer the package that I was saying.
I'd offer the Godfather package. I'm sure they would say no, because I don't think they would say, I don't think they're that interested in pick 5 and a couple of good, but real. Let's be honest, like role players most likely, and Sadiq, Isaiah,
Sadiq's a starter.
And Killian. Sadiq is a starter, but that's still a role player. Like
I disagree. It's very well established that we disagree on things like role players, starters, stars, superstar.
Right, exactly. I think a high level. Never mind. We won't get into it. Yeah. But I that's not me saying Sadiq Bey can't be an all-star. That's not what I'm saying in that. Like I think he can reach those levels. I'm not saying that in that, by the way. Just all of them, actually. Sorry, all of them. I think any of them can reach extremely high all NBA, all-star, all defense, whatever levels. Those going for each of the specific ones. But at the same time, again, like you said, you trade that for KD. Every day, any day of the year, you trade that for KD. No?
Yeah.
All right. So we're in agreement on that.
So if the Pistons made the offer, say this is the final offer. Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, and first round picks until 2027. Like swaps and picks. So like 4
but we
first
wouldn't
round
be able
picks,
to give up our first round pick next
as
year.
many picks as they're allowed to give up until 2027. As many first
I actually don't know if it's now that I'm thinking about that.
They might have already traded all of them. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think we have a lot of our rights.
As many first round picks as they're allowed to trade, including protections of picks, like
right.
That counts. Okay. That's what it would take.
Swaps, but we can't trade protections.
Yes, you can.
You can trade a protected pick, but you can't trade
like if your pick is protected 1 through 14, you own those rights.
You're talking about a protection. You're talking about a protection. That's what I said. A backup, like a backup protection, is what. No, you're talking about just straight up.
You can't trade the rights to your protected pick.
If I trade the Spurs my 2023 pick and it's lottery protected or whatever.
Yeah.
The 2024 season, that pick, if it doesn't, what's the word?
Convey.
If it doesn't convey, thank you, then it goes to the Spurs again. Which means
if it does not convey. Oh, okay. Fine, so whatever.
You can't trade
the fact of the matter is, as many first round picks as they're allowed to trade.
Yes, I would do that.
That leaves you with a roster of Hammy, Cade, KD, Bagley, Duran, Kelly, Kojo. Like,
I'd be super depressed.
Like,
I guess maybe I should clarify.
Like, where does that leave you?
Like, me personally, I'm not interested at all. Like, I just don't think this is something that we should even really entertain beyond like what I said before with the Sadiq, Killian, and Isaiah, because then at least we still have Jaden Ivey. And I still wouldn't be happy with that. Like, I don't love the idea. I've never loved the idea of giving up. I don't care about, I'm not talking about production. I'm just talking about numbers, like literally numbers. I don't love the idea of giving up more than you're getting back, especially when it's like multiple pieces. So if I'm giving up a player in multiple picks, that's a different argument.
You might get like Seth Curry packaged with him. Does that change things for you?
What do you mean?
Like if the Nets threw in Seth Curry?
It does. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's more. I think it's more the sense that right now, because I literally can't see us doing that. Like, I just can't see us getting KD. I don't see how it'd be realistic to expect like anything out of it. Like, I just, like you said, there's not much left if you trade that. Yeah. And that would hurt. That would really hurt. I don't know how I would feel about that. You have Kevin Durant, I know, but like you still have to admit that would hurt.
No, I know. That's why whatever team trades for Kevin Durant, you have to make sacrifices, whether that's trading all of your draft capital, whether that's trading your young building blocks of the future, or both. You have to make sacrifices to get a guy like Kevin Durant.
And know if you're ready or not.
Yeah.
Because
And
that's the other thing that I'm forgetting.
That leads me to my question to you about the Nets. Would you rather be acquiring picks and taking risks on teams performing poorly, or would you rather have young players that have already either been drafted either in this past draft or have played 1 or 2 seasons in the league?
Players. I want players. You can give me like maybe 1 or 2 picks. I know it's
So
KD.
If you look at teams, the Pistons are one of the teams that would be able to make one of those offers. Right. It leads me to another team of like Memphis. Like, could you see Memphis trading some of their young guys, and you got an expiring contract in Steven Adams to match up that salary?
Unless Memphis, for whatever reason, which I don't think in any world they are willing to give up Triple J, then I don't think any of
what they can offer
their
is enough.
Combinations is
Desmond
enough
Bain,
compared to what
Williams. Yeah, well, it's obviously going to be the biggest trade package ever, because like we saw the James Harden package, and like we've seen like Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook, like Paul George for an emerging Victor Oladipo. Like I like this is going to be different, I think, in my opinion. I don't think like there's going to be a trade for like it's not going to be superstar for superstar. Like there isn't that option for
I agree,
anyone,
but really. I think at the least it needs to be. If you are Brooklyn, I would be extremely dissatisfied if I don't come out of this with a potential superstar and at least 1 or 2 high-level potential role players, or already high-level role players in that.
Yeah. I mean, when you're paying $50 million to him, by the time like this contract's over, it's hard to match up contracts, and it's also going to be hard to figure out exactly, like from the other team's perspective, what you want to trade. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who makes the best offer for Brooklyn. I think they're going to value an even distribution of picks and young players, because young players, obviously you like them, but if you're not going to compete by the time their contract is over, like it doesn't matter. Like it's a long-term deal. And that leads me to kind of the next topic, because we'll be talking about KD nonstop, especially depending on the more rumors come out. Like we're going to be doing episodes all weekend probably, as more news arises. But it leads me to my other favorite team besides the Pistons, and that's the Denver Nuggets. And we'll talk about if the Denver Nuggets can acquire KD real quick before we get into the trade they already made. But Denver is a team that has been very aggressive in the offseason. They were linked to KD the last time he was around in free agency. And you have a guy in Michael Porter Jr. who has proven, when healthy, can play at an all-star level in this league. You got a young guy in Bones Highland who proved that he has a lot of potential as a sharpshooter and even as a playmaker, running the point guard duties for the Nuggets last year. So you have 2 guys who are under 24 years old, and you have picks, and you can potentially make salary work after trading Will Barton. That could be enough for a guy like KD if they trust Michael Porter Jr.'s health. Trading all your first-round picks. Obviously, they're not going to be high first-round picks, but if you trade him to a contender, he's not going to be. Getting Michael Porter Jr., if you trust his health, Bones Highland, maybe one of their other first-round picks from this past year or a year before, like Zeke Naji, Christian Brown, or Peyton Watson. That could be an offer that Brooklyn likes, because Michael Porter Jr. at his best could be potentially the best player in return. Like if Brooklyn is looking for what you were saying in a good young player, Michael Porter Jr. could be the best option for them if Denver were to offer it. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I feel like I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but
he could be. Like
off the top of my head, he could be. I mean, yeah. Depending on health, like obviously, I mean, you
have to trust his health. Like if they don't, like that's completely fair.
Made sure to bring it up, multiple times, because it's true. It's like that's the biggest concern with Michael Porter Jr. if I'm Brooklyn, I'm very, very intrigued. I think it's his health and then how you value Bones as Brooklyn, because
And
realistically,
Porter
it's
Jr. is already extended.
right. Yeah, well,
Like
that's
the
the
fact that you
base of
don't have
the
to sign him or risk him leaving after 1 year, that doesn't hurt them.
but it's also
But
if
it's
he
also it could be a negative if you don't trust his health.
right. I think the only reason maybe I'm feeling tentative about this, about just thinking it's like it's not just you being biased, is because I feel like if I'm the Nuggets, this is like the easiest yes of all time. And obviously, you're trading for KD. Everyone's going to be a pretty easy yes. But like with the last trade we were talking about with the Pistons, like you feel a huge, massive hole being left in that team, because that's what should happen when you trade for a superstar. Whereas with the Nuggets, I don't know. I mean, I guess now that they've traded Monte, trading away Bones is tough, but they still have depth at the guard position.
Ish. Like
Ish,
like
depending on
vet
PJ
min
Dozier's
guys, they
health
still
next year.
PJ Dozier's not a Nugget, but he could be re-signed. Like they traded him last
Oh,
year. The
really?
Nuggets, yeah, they traded.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but he does have interest in returning to Denver. Like,
Damn.
if Denver were to trade for Kevin Durant, they would be able to fill out the rest of their roster with vet min guys, no problem.
Like really easily. Like
Yeah,
that's why I'm just like I don't know if that
and
I don't
that
even
you
know if
can
that gets
sign as many as you
close
want.
to. I know, but it doesn't
You
sound
don't
like that.
think that can compete for a championship? Is that like from
Oh
Denver
no,
side?
I'm saying it doesn't. That trade offer doesn't sound nearly as close
Enough
to
for
being
KD,
as competitive for KD as I think Brooklyn is looking for.
MPJ, Bones,
You have
first
to
round picks.
like I don't even know what else.
It's gonna be a lot. One other trade offer that I was saw on Twitter, a potential Washington D.C. reunion for KD. Bradley Beal opting out. I guess if Bradley Beal opted out, I guess they could re-sign him and trade him, but that seems like a hassle. So I guess that can't really be a thing. But KD to DC could be an option. I thought that would happen when he went to Golden State the first time. That could be an option.
I think of anyone who has. Yeah, I remember when we.
I remember being on
Wow.
a travel trip.
Yeah.
I think it
Wow.
was Western though, so it wasn't. We weren't together.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I think if we're being honest, Washington might be the team that has the biggest stockpile of assets to trade for KD
Yeah.
right now. I mean,
They
they have the forwards to just waste.
They can trade Kuzma again.
They can trade Kuzma, Denny, Rui, and
Corey
still
Kispert,
have like Thomas
Johnny
Bryant,
Davis.
Johnny Davis. Oh man. They have a lot. They have a lot.
Yeah.
Like they have a decent amount to move around. They've got their picks, I think. I believe so.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of money tied up in a lot of those players. So like now they can, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe we see a KD and Kyrie move in a 3-team trade that re-involves the trade we're talking about right now with the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Where
that trade was never
goes to the
official.
Nuggets and Kyrie goes to Washington.
That trade was never official. A lot of
and
trades.
Bradley goes to Brooklyn.
Yeah. So real quick, like if as long like I doubt any of that happens, but we'll see. Obviously there's a surprising move every second in this offseason, but Will Barton, the longest tenured Nugget, along with Monte Morris. What's so funny?
So it's like KD said, both number 1 seeds, please.
Yeah, facts. That's hilarious.
Oh my god. Okay.
But Will Barton, the longest tenured Nugget, and Monte Morris, dubbed Mr. Nugget, were traded to Washington yesterday for Ish Smith and Contavious Caldwell Pope. This might seem on paper like a terrible trade, but at the end of the day, it was Monte Morris for KCP and then Ish for Will Barton. They got to get rid of Will Barton's $15 million expiring contract and Monte Morris, who is the bigger loss of the two, in my opinion. But KCP is surprisingly a better 3-point shooter than Will Barton. Will know his role.
Yeah.
Started finals games for the Los Angeles
Slightly better
Lakers.
defender too.
Slightly way better defender. Way better defender than Will Barton.
I guess I didn't watch that many Nuggets games this year.
Will Barton is a
better.
minus defender. KCP is a plus defender.
There you go.
So,
Nuggets fans.
It's a good trade. It's something the Nuggets were lacking, which is wing defense. They got it. They had to give up Monte Morris, but if you're a Nugget fan, would you rather give up Bones or Monte Morris? And I think at the end of the day, you give
shorter, smaller contracts too.
Yeah, you give up Monte Morris,
a little salary dump
9 times out of 10. So
it's a salary dump.
Yeah, and Ish Smith is a NBA player.
He's proven it. Now, please, Denver, play him one game. That's all we ask.
Well, I mean, Ish Smith will be on an NBA team next year. But
he needs to play one game for Denver.
No, I mean, yeah, I think he will.
Then he can beat the record.
Yeah, I think he will. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. He'll play he'll be on an.
No, he has to play a game. He has to touch the floor once for said team. I don't know. I guess it's just
but he'll touch the floor for someone next year.
But it has to be a specific team. He's been to 14 teams.
So you're saying he might end up going to a team he's already been on?
Yeah. Like, how do you know the Nuggets won't just say you and trade you to back to Washington? I don't know.
That's not allowed.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking.
So yeah, Nuggets are not done. We'll be talking about them. But lastly, another trade that has yet to be finalized. A big blockbuster yesterday. DeJounte Murray being DeJounte Murray being traded from San Antonio to the Atlanta Hawks for Gallo and 4 first-round picks. I want to say
3 unprotected firsts and 3 unprotected firsts and one
protected
slightly protected first next year.
Yeah. So Gallo was obviously to make the contracts work. He was then waived by San Antonio, who was #tanking for Victor, it seems like.
No, I thought you were.
What?
I thought you were going to say the hashtag. Good. Nothing.
No, like you thought. I said exactly what you thought. I haven't seen another hashtag.
Okay, good. Because there's the one hashtag that's like, it's like be poop for Scoot or something, or like poop for Scoot. And then you can imagine what the other one for Vic is.
I'm not saying any of that.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't even know. I can't imagine what it is, but I'm not saying
I'll tell you after. But yeah, the Spurs have officially joined the Victor Wembanyama free sweepstakes. I was gonna say freepstakes. That's not a word. Yeah, I mean, realistically, you still only have a 14% chance at what you're trying to get here. Realistically, I understand why they did it anyways. Like,
yeah, I mean, they weren't going to succeed, and they got 3 unprotected first-round picks. And the Hawks are nothing special. And even with DeJounte Murray, they're still a piece away from
ding, ding, ding. And 2 years from now, you're about to lose DeJounte.
Yeah, so because
he's not re-signing.
That's a no-brainer trade. DeJounte does help, but that trade is yet to be finalized, and I think that's for the reason of potentially finding a third team to pick up the contract of John Collins.
Right. Miami
is very heavily linked to John Collins, which would be huge. That'd be awesome.
I just don't understand what you trade
I'd trade I'd trade Tyler Hero for John Collins.
No, because I actually don't know. That's sorry.
But the Hawks would be interested in Tyler Hero.
That was a bad leading question. I meant to say, based on the reports, I don't think the value for John Collins is a Tyler Hero. I think it's like you're not getting that much back. So what is the deal that Miami's sending? Like, I don't know what to expect from this, because all we've heard the last week and a half about John Collins is that his value is shit and they can't get they can't get anything for him.
Yeah.
They're not getting.
The Heat is a team that could use a John Collins. A lot of teams could use a John Collins.
Especially for a low price.
Yeah. But that trade yet to be finalized. I think the KD trade turned a lot of heads. Obviously, we already got reports that over half the teams in the league have already made a call to Brooklyn regarding KD, and potentially regarding anyone. Beautiful. Like Kyrie and Ben Simmons are 100% on the block as well.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw the Mavericks report or the report about the Mavericks saying that they're expected to heavily pursue a trade for net star Kyrie Irving. Yeah, assuming they lose Jalen Brunson, their pursuit will be very aggressive.
Yeah, everyone's available for Brooklyn. So now, like any trade that's yet to be finalized, I think you might. I'm not going to say you're going to see reneging, but like, I don't know.
We might see some shuffling. We might see
moves getting adjusted. Pistons have yet to finalize their trades. The Hawks, the Nuggets, all these trades have yet to be finalized. We'll see. I don't know how long we've been talking because I forgot to hit record.
You mean
record
me
on
too.
Or start on the stopwatch.
Me too.
This seems like a good stopping point because the more we talk, the more information is going to come out, and the more we're going to keep talking.
But we're literally probably going to be doing this in 2 hours. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe not today, but tomorrow.
I'll see you.
I'd be shocked if we're not recording tomorrow. If Dov goes rogue and records something tonight, that's his prerogative. But we will 100% be putting out another episode either tomorrow or Saturday. That's a guarantee. Most likely tomorrow, maybe both Friday and Saturday.
Listen, if there's news, you'll be hearing from us.
Yeah, if it's news as big as KD signing somewhere, getting traded to somewhere, there will be an emergency episode of some sort.
Yeah.
But in regard, like if Zach LaVine resigns with the Bulls, like no, like we're not dropping everything to record something about that. Yeah, because even if Zach LaVine signed with the Heat, like I'm not dropping.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Don't. Yeah, we are.
I don't think so. I think we wait till the next day. Like say you did it at 11 p.m. tonight. I'm waiting till the next day. Like fuck a Zach LaVine.
Okay. I don't totally disagree with that now that I'm thinking about it. But still, I gotta get up for work tomorrow.
Oh right.
But we can do it in the morning or in the afternoon. I can do it during my break, a cool little break. Should I bring the mic with me to work?
Yeah, why not? Go from the phone. Just join the Zoom.
No,
from the phone.
I'll put my laptop and I'll bring a bag with my laptop and stuff in the car just in case.
All right. So,
but leave a
go ahead.
Leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know how we did today. Hopefully there were no technical issues. We had a lot of technical issues on our side. So just let us know if you are having any issues audio wise, video wise on your end. We can get those fixed. But that's the update for today. Hopefully we'll be back here tomorrow and nothing insane will happen tonight because I want my sleep. But
all right,
we'll have to see.
Thank you all very much. We'll be back soon and peace.